Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to be talking about the book More Misery by Suzanne Heller. And it's got cute little stick-like figure illustrations, and it's done in a sarcastic manner. And this is a sequel to the book Misery, and it was originally published in 1965. This is the fourth printing, so it's only a year after the year of my birth. Give me an example of the type of humor in here before I get to some specifics. Misery is when you're not hungry and have to eat the crust on your bread because the poor, starving people all over the world. So there's a little bit of classism in here, which is a little more subtle than some of the other things in here. For example, misery is when you're playing jump rope and you have loose underpants. That's humorous and, generally acceptable, but it is distinctly gendered. And here's one that really struck me hard. Misery is having unsightly hair on your legs and you're not allowed to shave it off. So this is aimed at adolescents, okay? This is a picture of a girl just old enough that she's begun to grow hair on her body, other than her head. And she has already taken in the patriarchal shame that says a woman can't have body hair. Now remember, this book was written and illustrated by a woman. Alrighty, so yeah, that's not healthy. Okay, This one was kind of funny. Misery is when you have corn on the cob and you don't have front teeth. I actually know what that's like because I didn't have front teeth for a while when I was a kid. This is one that struck me, and it's the reason I bought the book, because I opened it up and it fell to this page. Misery is having soft bread and hard butter. I'm always complaining about having hard butter. Misery is learning how to set your hair. So you're already telling girls, you must do this thing. You have no option. To be socially acceptable, you must set your hair in curlers, which is how it was done back in the day, back before we had curling wands and such. And misery is having your hair look like this after you've spent 3 hours setting it. So again, you're shaming someone's appearance by saying they're not looking a particular way. Here's a little bit of potential classism, but also just being uncomfortable with the way we appear. Misery is when everyone wears sneakers to school and you have to wear Buster Browns. Now, if anybody watching this without looking it up can tell me what Buster Browns are, I'll be really impressed. Oh, I have email. Misery is playing doctor and not being able to give a thorough examination. That one's slightly creepy. Now, the implication is that when you play doctor as a child, that you're exploring each other's bodies, which is fine as long as it's consensual between the kids, because they're going to do this. But they're being told you can't do that because it's bad. It's a natural part of life. And that's weird. Misery is when you have to change your bathing suit on the beach. So you're automatically telling kids that public nudity is bad, that they should be ashamed of themselves unless they appear in a certain manner, and if they have to do certain things in public, it's awkward. It's unacceptable. And these are all things that we really don't need in our society. Misery is when you're 13 and you don't need a bra. Unless you have breasts of a certain size at a certain age, you are not accepted by society. Misery is when you're 12 and you need one. Again, if you have breasts at a certain age, society will make judgments about you. Misery is when you have to go to the ladies' room and you're a little boy because you have to be let in because you can't use the bathroom by yourself. Let's get rid of gendered bathrooms completely. But thankfully we now have family bathrooms, so that's a slight step in the right direction. Misery is when your younger sister is taller than you and she's not too big for her age. So again, unless you have achieved certain physical stages, you will be ridiculed. You will be made to feel uncomfortable in your own skin. This was kind of funny. Misery is when you've been promised a dog for Christmas and you get a canary named Fido. Misery is when you're 8 and you still have all of your baby fat. There's a picture of a girl looking herself in the mirror and judging herself. Misery is when your little brother won't trade a Hardy Boys for a Nancy Drew. Many people probably won't get that, but the Hardy Boys were two brothers that were adventurous, and Nancy Drew was a girl and her friend who were also adventurous. They solved crimes. Automatically this is playing up the idea that there are gendered books, and certain books are appropriate for certain genders, and certain books are inappropriate for certain genders. Boys shouldn't read Nancy Drew. And that's the end of the problematic cartoons in the book More Misery. I may want to actually see if I can chase myself down a copy of Misery so that I can see if the first one is as deeply as offensive. Now this is like a snapshot of the 1960s. If you think the television show Mad Men is that, this is it too. This is an example of a woman having completely absorbed patriarchal thinking and is imposing it and transmitting it to children the world over. It's really sad. I'm glad I bought this book. I really am, for two reasons. One, I think it's an important historical document of where we've been and where we are now, and two, I don't want this to fall into the hands of children. I don't want kids to be influenced by this book by some parent who thinks it's cute. It isn't cute. It's disturbing. It's misogynistic. It's classist. It just isn't healthy. So, I would like to open a dialogue about what kind of books do you have in your house that your family has collected over the years that you now think in today's world reveal just how odd and twisted things were in the past.